Hello, everybody.
Bonjour,
We're
à tutti.
back. Well, two of us are back. The other two are slacking, ill, dead. Pick your choice, whichever
Useless.
one you prefer.
Useless.
Useless. Um, Joined another show. Quit vaping. Pick any one of those. It's probably right. No, Chandler's on his late shift again, so he will be joining us later. Um, JB slacking, probably slacking. I imagine he's slacking. Um, And later on, we're going to be having a guest joining us, hopefully.
Indeed, indeed. Those of you that were with us last week may have noticed a bit of a conversation from somebody called. Did he release his name in the chat? From a guy named Paul.
Yes, he did.
And Paul is from Australia and he's going to be joining us. Obviously, the time difference is making it quite difficult, but he's going to be joining us about 9 p.m. our time, which I think is about 7 a.m. their time. So, yes, he will be with us. He will be with us.
Mental. And next week, we'll have the other Australian Down Under person. No, we won't. That'd be cool, though.
We've had him before. We've already had him.
Yeah, we'll have him again. I'm only saying this because I think it would be awesome, but these guys are like, yeah, whatever. Yeah, we've already met him, and yeah, it's cool. No worries. So how are we all doing today, people in the chat? We having a good time? Having a good week? We've got loads this week as well. There's like, I think I've been spammed by about 3,000 different news articles from Mark today about stuff that's happening. So we will work through them because some of them are awesome. Some of them are terrible. Some of them are awesome. We'll see how it goes.
You'll have to bear with me. I've turned up tonight.
No headphones.
No headphones. I could not find my headphones anywhere. So all Cass was getting was a mental echo. No mods set up. Well, one mod set up, and then I was getting battery rattle on one mod. And I had a hissy fit and put it in the bin, and I'm now in the process of just rebuilding this, but I can't remember which is the dead battery and which isn't. So.
Oh, it's going well so far,
mate. It's only Tuesday, and I feel like I've had a killer of a week already.
Yeah, I mean, I worked 7 days last week, and I've just been completely put off by Rob in the chat. I've been getting random bonus. Turns out it was pods, so. There we go. Yeah, we will get into that. A lot of you have probably seen the boner juice. We'll get into that. Yeah, I mean, I was fairly prepared. I didn't get on till like a little bit later tonight to get ready, but
hang on, we both got in at like 2 minutes to wait, didn't we?
I don't know what happened, man. Like, I had to do some food shopping tonight. Like, I'm an hour behind. I hate food shopping.
And now this ain't working.
It's going really well. Like, you know, we cut down the host numbers and then everything else goes wrong. See?
Excuse me a second. Can you just entertain for a moment?
I can.
Oh, wrong
one. Right. So, whilst I'm on my own, what have you guys in the chat seen this week that's shocked you, amazed you, put you in awe or disgusted you? I think a lot of what's happening. Yeah, it's JB crying. Yeah, it was definitely JB crying. I know. She's like 3 years old. Jono, I think she's. Oh, amazing. I'd quit now. Yeah, it's not going very well. I mean, we're late. Mark's broken everything. I'm on my own. I don't know where Chandler is. I don't know where JB is. We've got a guest probably from the other side of the world. Oh, he's back. Hey, hi, Mark. Nice to see you.
Hi.
Hey, hello. Rob said, is that JB crying?
Yeah, I've locked him in a room, and he wants sausage rolls, and I wouldn't give him sausage rolls, so he had a bit of a cry. You know what he's like. He's a bit of a whinger.
Yeah, he is a bit of a whinger, let's be honest. Right,
Talk,
so I would ask you what you're vaping on tonight, but you're currently building it.
I'm currently trying to work out why the flying fuck. Where's...
They've seen your pants.
I'm in my pants. I didn't even get a chance to get dressed tonight.
So you'd have thought with just two people, this would be really slick, really professional, like complete and concise. It's not.
Not a chance.
No, not at all. Not at all. Chat, what are you vaping on tonight? Whilst Mark faffs, I will tell you, I've got my Berserker back. As always, I've literally used nothing else all week. It's been glorious. And I've been vaping in it up until tonight, 12 milligram Heisenberg. But when I went to Fest, where is it? I bought some of this. The Manabush Firewater #1. Absolutely amazing. But it was just a bit much. It being vaped at 0.1 ohms in a dripper. So I vaped it down a little bit, added a second nick shot. It's now like 6 milligrams. And in the Berserker, which it turns out actually can handle the slightly thicker juice, is bloody lush. So yeah, I'm going to Expo. I don't know if Mark's going to Expo, Jono. You going to Expo, Mark?
You know the answer to that.
No, but not as a company, like as like a punter.
No.
No,
I'm done with.
no, he's boycotting Expo.
I'm done. As much as I'd love to go for the social, I can't.
Fair enough. Are you going to be there, Jono? Are you going to be at Expo? Will I see you there?
Jono would turn up to the opening of a letter, wouldn't he? We love Jono.
Oh dear, that's fantastic. So yeah, that's basically what I've been vaping on pretty much the whole week, and then obviously changed the juice out. And this juice is way better mouth to lung than it is sub-ohmed. So yeah, just don't even sub-ohm it, just mouth to lung it, because it ruins it with anything cloudy.
What's the flavour profile?
It is a cigar and bourbon, but it's so overpowering. I mean, you sniff the bottle, it knocks you out. So vaping it on a sub-ohm, so I mean, I had it at 0.1 aliens. It was just way too much.
Yeah,
Popping it in this with an extra nick shot, so it's sitting around 6 to 8 milligrams, is just immaculate.
But still running, it's a 70-30, isn't it?
He actually makes two versions. He does make a 50-50 version and a 70-30 version. Now, I bought the 70-30 version. I wish I'd bought the 50-50 version. But with the two nick shots in, I think I've knocked it down to somewhere close to 65-35, maybe even 60-40. Hopefully. Because I've got 50-50 nick shots. That's what I've been putting in it. So hopefully a little bit better. Rob's like, I can't seem to put down my Orion. It's too cute. They are cute. They are tiny. Ooh, moonshine liquid. Yeah. But no, absolutely love it. I'm going to have to get myself some more. I paid like sod all for that. I think it was like a tenner. So it was like show price, which wasn't bad. But definitely go get some. If you like your tobacco vapes, it's one of the better ones I've ever had.
Yeah. It is. Martin makes some damn fine juice.
Doesn't he just? So.
Where'd you say you got it from? Expo?
No, Fest.
I was going to say. That doesn't sound like Martin's bag.
No, I picked it up at Fest. No, literally, Martin came over. We were actually at the Vulcan tent. And he came over and he's like, oh, check this out. It's got new range, blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay. I don't know what device he had it on. But I was like, right, where's your tent? Give me some now.
Incoming.
So I went over and I bought one. I think I even bought a bottle for Stu, actually.
That was nice of you.
Well, he'd just given me a mech mod, so it seemed like still an unfair trade.
You felt kind of compelled to...
Yeah, Stu looks after me.
Stu's a good lad. Miss Stu. Miss Stu.
No, no. Can we get him on as a guest? Do you think he'd do it?
Yeah, I'm sure he would.
Yeah. I mean, Stu is the reason I'm here.
What? Because he stepped down, you took his spot?
So no, because he introduced me to you.
Of course, yeah.
And then you were like, yeah, you should come on. And then I did, and then I never left.
You never left. You kind of
stuck around,
wasn't it?
Yeah.
No, that's all good. That's all good.
Oh dear, it's all good fun. And
We're
finally,
almost there. We're almost there. I'll have something to talk about in a few minutes.
oh dear, I'm not gonna lie, not mad. You aren't going to Expo, just disappointed.
Disappoint all you want, bitch. Anyway, Johnny, you're working, aren't you? Won't you be? You'll be supporting Dale and the TYV team, won't you? I'm making that assumption.
I will be popping by Jono for my press pack filled with goodies.
Press pack? How have you managed to blag a press pass?
I haven't. I'm just assuming that he's going to have one ready for me.
Who?
Yeah, Jono.
Jono won't get a press pass. Jono might think he's something big in the industry. He's not.
No, not a press pass, a press pack. You know, like.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're probably sucking off the wrong guy. You might want to go suck Dale off.
1 week, Cass leaves his toothbrush over, then the next he has a drawer. Yeah, that's literally me.
Who's that? Rob.
Yeah. Hello, Keith. Keith on?
Who's Keith on? Oh, Keith. Evening, Keith.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose I could be telling you what I was vaping already, whilst I fanny around with this. Is it on? Is it on?
Are you vaping your own juice?
I am actually.
Mm.
And you know what? Your own juice, you kind of, I won't say you get bored of, but you like to try other things. You know, if you work in Pizza Hut, would you eat Pizza Hut all day?
Oh, not a chance.
Oh, that's nice.
I can't even see you.
Oh,
Taste.
Das ist gut, ja. Right, so I is on. Christ. I only. So I'm left, right. It's funny on this. So still vaping away on the Orion. Having spoke to Chris last week, I think we're after the show. He was after some. It was after some replacement pods.
Yeah, he was, wasn't he?
And we were talking about obviously the 0.5, and then there's obviously the 0.25. And I thought
that seemed kind of low.
Yeah, they're not. Well, they are, but obviously at the wattage we're talking about, it's not.
At the wattage.
But yeah, I put a 0.25 in, and I tried it with high VG juice, and it was alright. It was nice. I thought I'd try it, dial off the air, and use it as mouth to lung, and it's actually quite nice.
Ew, and is that on your own juice?
Yeah. Yes, it is. I am vaping on 12mg 50/50 elderflower and apple.
Mm-hmm.
Whilst it's not available to buy in 50/50 form, there is a few things going on in the background that may well allow you to produce your own 50/50 in such form, but there's news coming very soon. It's not my place to announce anything, so I'll leave the guys involved to announce before I say anything further.
Yeah, because you know, subtlety is key here.
Yes, very subtle. I'm just looking to see if anyone's in chat from there, but appears not. But no, there will be an announcement. Rob, maybe. Yes, so yes, watch this space. What's beeping? Is it my head?
No, it's my washing machine.
Oh, okay. I was like,
I can't believe you can hear that. That's insane.
you see, if Lindsay heard me calling her that, she'd go nuts.
What, the washing machine?
Yeah, the washing machine. Yes, also on the Berserker.
Yeah.
And again, 12 milligram, 50/50, elderflower and apple. It's very nice. And I'm not just saying that. I love it in high VG, but in 50/50, it really, really, really does sing. Really does sing.
Well, I mean, I was surprised just by this juice. Using this as an example again, how different it is. Mouth to lung, thinner, higher nick.
Yeah. And just how the flavours come across a little bit differently. You know, you get different subtle notes. Obviously, the reason I have this mixed up was obviously people are going to say, well, what do I need to mix it at? So, you know, I was just having to play around and work out where it sits the best. So, yeah. All good. I am also vaping on. I just pulled an old school goon out.
Oh, yes.
An old school goon and dragon.
Yeah.
I think it's about, what, 28 mil from the looks of the gap around the top of the...
Because the goon is 24, right?
Yeah. I do like to pull a mech out every now and again. You know, as much as I like my mouth to lung, I do like a good... Sorry, I just felt something on my leg and I wonder what the hell it was.
You don't have a cat or a dog?
Yeah, it's the dog. But it's the dog that I thought was in its kennel, and it's not. So I wonder what she was doing.
Fair enough.
She decided to take a shit on my bed earlier, so she's... It's not even funny.
It's amazing. Oh, dear, please tell me they were brand new clean sheets, because that would have just icing on the cake.
Luckily, they were due clean, but they've probably got another 3 or 4 weeks left in them. I'm joking. And in that, I am vaping on Home Slice from TYV. Still loving the salted caramel cheesecake. It's very nice. Yes, so did you let everyone know what the plan was for this evening? You did, didn't you? We said about Paul.
Yeah, so we've got Paul coming on. I think it's going to be around 9 p.m-ish, assuming that we can get a good connection and he can get on and, you know, his stuff works fine. JB, I don't know. Said he might.
I don't think JB will make it. I know he said he'd try and get in on his drive home, but I've stolen his link to send to Paul, so he won't get in anyway.
Fair enough. And then, yeah, Chandler will be on about, I guess, 9:15 whenever he gets back from his thing. Bow tie and all. Probably got a branded T-shirt.
And a waistcoat.
So, yeah, no, it's going to be good. I think we should get into the news. The news of this week. There has been many of it. Some of it confusing. Some of it lies. I'm just going to... just lies. Right, I've just got to pull up the old... because we have a chat that we put all of our content that we find for the week in. You know, for reading and the like. And now I've got to find it all. So... we're going to start with one that has been doing the circuit, and it is from The Sun, which is just a diabolical rag.
Are you starting with the funny one or the annoying one? Start with the funny one. Let's start with light humour.
With light humour. Okay, so it's going to just take me a moment, but most of you have heard about the dude that swallowed his drip tip.
No, he didn't swallow it. He fucking inhaled it.
Right, so he inhaled his drip tip, right? Now, before I bring up the article, let's look through a logical set of steps as to how this occurred. Firstly, let me take this mod, right? Because this mod here, right? This has got a similar sort of drip tip, right? You put it to your lips, right? Your lips being the main barrier to prevent anything going into your mouth other than the vapor. I can only come to the conclusion that he was doing this. Right? That is the only conclusion, that the entire thing was basically down his throat anyway when he inhaled.
So he was deep throating his mod, is what you're trying to insinuate?
Yeah. I've just put man inhales, and this is the top results on Google: hot dogs, propane, and banana.
You see, I get every single one of those.
Yeah.
Every single one of those is possible. Drip tip. Sorry.
Okay, so vapors often claim. This is an article on Vaping 360, so we're not but well, I suppose a vaping website's super biased, isn't it? Vapors often claim that vaping has never killed anyone, but one British man came very close to putting an end to that talking point. Now he's going to star in a medical journal, which may be the weirdest vaping story ever. Alan O'Brien inhaled his vape so hard that he sucked the drip tip into his mouth, through his throat, all the way down his trachea to the point where the windpipe meets the lung. Another centimetre and the 40-year-old man would probably have died.
Hang on. Just a thought.
Yeah.
It's lucky fucking Chandler didn't do that. If Chandler had done that, he'd have been dead with the monstrosities that he uses.
It'd be on one of them like top 10 shows that appears at 2 in the morning on like E4. It's like top 10 weirdest deaths, and it's got an X-ray, and it's just got a squonk mod halfway down his lungs.
Hang on. Or was it completely covered with slobber and it just slipped in there? How does it just slip into your lung?
I don't know. Ask her. That's what she said.
Just slipped in. Okay, I get a bit of chokage. Back of the throat. You know, maybe make its way down your esophagus into your stomach, perhaps. But to fucking inhale it, come on.
I mean, I've taken some rips in my time, but Jesus Christ. Like I said, you go through the logical process of the physical properties of how that could physically happen, and it had to have been in his mouth. Not against his mouth, against his lips, literally in his mouth. But then I have seen people do that.
How? How? Because it looked like the top of an alien or something. What was the tank he was using?
It was, I think it was a Baby Beast. Yeah, Smok O Sub 80-watt baby kit.
Right, have we got a baby? Baby anywhere? No. Damn it.
Yeah, see, even Vaping 360 agrees with me. The vapor must have had his lips on the atomizer itself to allow the drip tip to fly off with enough velocity to fly through the throat and windpipe. Do
you know we were joking last week about a GMVQ in vaping? I think this just proves everything, doesn't it?
This is the best bit. The drip tip caused a whistling sound when he breathed. All I can imagine is Wheezy from Toy Story.
Oh, shit.
Oh.
Oh, wow.
Oh dear. Oh, it's just done me in, honestly.
But I love it. It wasn't one of the closing comments along the lines of he's decided to go back to smoking now. It's less dangerous.
Yeah. Let me see if I can find any other. Sorry, I just creased at that.
I'm waiting for the front page of next week's Sun with an X-ray of a lighter or something embedded in his skull.
Amazing.
Christ almighty.
Right, I'm just going to write this out. Oh, dear. Oh, honestly, it just beggars belief.
it was funny at the time, but now it's just hilarious.
Hilarious. Yeah, I mean, the guy's clearly. I mean, I don't know the bloke, obviously, but he must have been doing something quite drastically wrong.
Clearly.
Yeah, just I don't understand.
To inhale a drip tip. Crazy.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the next one because that is fun. Oh dear, what's going on? I don't know what's going on.
You broke it.
I broke it. I broke it. My Chrome has freezed up on one of my tabs. It's all going well. Oh, apparently there's drama in the old alternative vaping talk show that happens on a Thursday.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm just about to find out what. I posted this show on a group and got a message from one of the admins going, now, what do you think I should do about this? And I think, what do you mean? I've been posting for weeks about the show. There's no problem. And he goes, oh, no, don't worry. Sorry, I thought you were a different show. So, we'll see. Names shall be omitted. As per. Right, next thing I'm just bringing up. Right, so if you are a vapor, you can now benefit from cheaper insurance premiums. This is a thing that has been found.
Now, I know Badger will be all over this because I know that was one of Badger's bugbears a year or so ago, a couple of months ago. Having stopped smoking but still being considered a smoker because you vape.
Yes, now doctors and people in the NHS consider you a non-smoker if you vape. They have done for a couple of years now. But insurance peeps didn't. You were a smoker. Although as far as they're concerned, if you sat next to some incense, you were a smoker. So, right, so let me have a read with this. Another little story time. So last year, the fact that insurance companies were still imposing a smoker's surcharge on e-cigarette users made headlines. It's just not fair, said Linda Bald, that's unlucky, professor of health policy at Stirling University. As well as being financially punitive to people who vape, it can send negative messages to those who want to stop smoking. It's not helpful. So, the IBVTA, the Independent British Vape Trade Association, have they been at Expo a few times? Are they one of them advocacy groups?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I think Gary Dibley's on the panel board, whatever it is. I'm pretty sure Gary's...
I think I remember watching one of their seminars there, possibly. Anyway, this association had written a letter to the CEO of the Association of British Insurers, asking him for fair insurance policies that reflect the differences in health risks between vaping and smoking. Future Proof Insurance have launched the UK's first ever price comparison site, especially designed for vapors. This site will help e-cigarette users save thousands of pounds by giving them the option to list themselves as vapors and give them access to tailored insurance packages. Now, firstly, I think this is almost niching themselves out of it because all they need to do is get insurers to change a tick box, right? And change some of their code. Secondly, how many times, other than health or life insurance, have you been asked if you're a smoker?
Everyone.
I never got... Not car insurance, nope. Travel insurance, nope.
Oh, sorry. Travel insurance, I think, does.
Do they?
Hang on. Does travel insurance ask you if you need to be a smoker? No. Apparently not.
No, so, I mean, I think it's a good thing for those who are... I mean, if you're getting a mortgage, you have to have life insurance. So, you know, that can make a huge difference. Because life insurance on mortgages is just disgusting. So if that's the turning point... and I know companies, for example, that provide medical to their employees. You know, we're talking double premiums if you're a smoker. And if that's not going to be a thing anymore, then that's perfect. So... I think it's fantastic. I just don't know how relevant it is to the majority of people who... I mean, do you have life insurance? I know I don't.
Yeah, because
you've got a mortgage. Yeah. So, no, maybe it is. Let's have a quick look at the comments. Diddy, does he inhale a B&Q closely followed by a box of Swan Vestas? Okay, Keith said, my house insurance went down a lot around 4 years ago when I mentioned I vaped instead of smoking. Yeah, I guess that's because you're not going to accidentally fall asleep in bed with a cigarette and burn your house down. So yeah,
that's interesting actually, because we've had home buildings and contents insurance for the same people for years, haven't we? But I'd imagine when we took that out, we'd have declared that we were smokers.
Yeah, you would have, I guess. But then all it takes is for some insurance person to come around and check your house for a claim. It stinks of smoke in there, and they go, "Well, actually, on your insurance policy, it says that you don't smoke."
Well, it depends if your house is burnt down, because it'll probably smell of smoke if your house is burnt down.
Yeah, yeah. Or if the cause of your house burning down was a cigarette.
True. Yeah. But we've all seen the news. Not to be negative, there's been a lot of cases of house fires being started by chargers, dodgy batteries, blah blah blah.
Yes, 100%. I mean, I actually know a bloke that was a customer whose batteries in their charger, well, the charger melted, overheated, and set his kitchen on fire. Now, luckily, it was just his kitchen. It didn't burn the whole house down. Nobody was hurt. And he just arrived home as it started, so he managed to get it under control. But it happens. I mean, he was immaculate with his batteries and his chargers. It was just unlucky, you know. And it almost makes me rethink charging my phone overnight. You know what I mean?
Do you charge your phone next to your bed, next to your head?
Yes, I do. Yeah, it's my alarm clock as well. Dark, and it's got like the watch bit and the phone bit and all that sort of shit. So, yeah, no, I do. And I mean, I'm fairly safe with it. I never go out and leave my phone at home charged. And whenever I leave, every plug is turned off pretty much. So, you know, accidents can happen. And I think if it's going to... if it's gonna be something that affects your insurance premiums, then it's absolutely worth taking every penny that you can get back from the dickheads that you have to buy insurance off.
Yeah, Badger
just says, savage.
Badger just says just applied for more life insurance, and they are still grouping analogues and digitals together. But they ask about nicotine use. As I haven't used Nick shots for about a year now, I could say no. But nicotine isn't... Oh, this is one of the things that gets me. Nicotine isn't dangerous, apart from being being addictive.
I mean, in high levels, it's toxic, but then so is water. You know, so... Yeah, I mean, I always describe nicotine like caffeine. It does almost the same thing. It raises your heart rate a little bit. It just happens to be way, way more addictive. And... it's just as bad. And people say, well, you know, I'm on a really high nic. That's really bad, isn't it? And I say, no, it's not bad. That's just what you like. You know, it's like having a strong coffee versus a weak coffee. End of the day. So it's interesting to see how nicotine is another deciding factor.
Yeah.
Right. So that's the insurance. We're going to get through these because some of these are banging. Let me find one that's... Oh, okay. Right. So we've got another smoking ban happening. So this one is from the website vapenews.com. And this is from Canada, I believe. Canada, yeah.
Nova Scotia.
Yes, indeed. So they have banned smoking. So the ban within the Nova Scotia town includes tobacco, vaping, and cannabis products for anyone outside of city-approved smoking areas. Now, here in the UK, we had the smoking ban back in, July 27? 27? Yeah, 2007. And actually, I don't think really that many people were that bothered by it, considering by the fact that in the entire summer after the ban, only 13 people across the whole country were fined for it. So it didn't really affect us in any way, and now it's more of a thing where we just expect it. You know, it's not like we're fighting a ban here. So it'd be interesting to see how these guys do it. But it's interesting that they included vaping. We don't have that here.
Do you know when I read that? I read that as the whole town was smoke, vape, cannabis free, not just...
Well, anyone outside of city-approved smoking areas. So maybe that's you cannot smoke unless you are in, like, this room. You know, you can't vape on the street, you can't smoke on the street, yeah. you can't have a joint on the street, anywhere on the street.
That's how I understood it.
Yeah, unless you're in this area. Now, if you're in your own home, I suppose it makes no difference. Maybe. But But let's have a quick read then. So I'll tell you what, I'm gonna share it. Share. Okay, so here we go. This is the web that I've got. So a map displaying the designated smoking areas is live, but not without discontent. Hours before the ban goes into effect, only 2 designated areas appear on the city's website map. The city is still assessing approximately 10 pre-identified locations where smoking will be allowed, and installations will occur by Monday. The map is to be fully available, blah, 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 blah. So a designated smoking area has been set up with city workers removed 8 cigarette butt stops, which are replaced by a single new smoking receptacle. Smoking will be allowed within 3 meters of the new can, and smokers immediately noticed that the new designated spot was outdoors, whilst the old cans had been under a shelter. See, if you're going to have one of these in an entire city, 3 meters ain't nearly enough.
But I see what they tried to do. They tried to completely...
Yeah. I don't think this is something that's specifically against vaping. I just think they hate all of it.
But yet, the other one, which I'm guessing you're going to mention next...
Yep. Which is where we rely on everything coming from. Oh, God, where's the link? This will just take me a mo. Everyone's just seen my Facebook. That went well. Wait a second. Luckily, I think it was too blurry to see anything. Okay. Wait. Okay. No, it hasn't worked. Open link in new tab. There we go. Right. So I need to share the tab and not the entire screen. Chrome tab. Hong Kong. There we go. Right. So Hong Kong announces a complete ban on vapes. After indicating it would regulate but not prohibit vaping products, the government of Hong Kong has decided to institute a full ban on their sales, manufacture, and import. The ban will also cover heat not burn. There is no proposal to ban cigarettes, for which produce massive tax revenue for the government, of course. Now, after threatening the ban last year, they announced this June it would not ban but instead regulate and HNB as it does combustible tobacco. That was just repeating itself. So I don't know the geography of Hong Kong that well, but it's probably safe to say that a large amount of products come out of Hong Kong. Now that says import, but it also says manufacture. Can you get to export without the manufacture? Is that completely banned? I thought it was banned anyway in China.
No. Not totally, I don't think.
Okay.
Let me confirm that. They want to ban it. China, the world's biggest e-cigarette producer, wants to ban vaping. This was back in August.
Okay. Yeah.
As of today, there are no restrictions on e-cigarettes in China. Indeed, the device is not regulated as a tobacco product. Quick reminder, the e-cigarette was reinvented by a Chinese pharmacist in 2003 and is widely considered as much safer than traditional cigarettes. Rah, rah, rah. Many specialists also believe that e-cigarettes is a valuable tool for helping smokers quit smoking, blah, blah, blah. But no, there's no regulation as it stands.
No, but it'd be interesting to see how much of this stuff is produced in the specific Hong Kong area of China, and whether they'll just move outside of it. I don't know where the big manufacturing areas in China are.
It's Shenzhen and places like that. I don't think Hong Kong necessarily manufactures
that much.
Manufacture clothing. I think most of it is in the outside parts.
Yeah, it is. But I mean, having property or anything in Hong Kong is disgustingly expensive. I saw a flat online in Hong Kong the other day, and this is not big. This is tiny. It's $18,000 US a month.
What?
Like they are, yeah, insane property prices in Hong Kong.
That is madness. Absolute madness.
Yeah.
I think Hong Kong though is a lot like living in Paris, I like living in London, like living in New York. It's
Mm.
you know the place to be, the place to live. So I'm guessing there's a lot of high flying jobs.
Oh yeah. Hong Kong's got the highest density of billionaires than anywhere else in the world. I think it's like, and then I think it's 1 in 3 people is a millionaire. So, but I mean, those are stats that I vaguely remember. They might be wrong. Right. Have we got anything else? Right. I think there was one more thing. I'm just going to find it. I might be wrong, though.
It was the sun one, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
You
let me
didn't
find
actually
that.
do that.
I didn't actually get to that one yet. I found the... right. This chat is a mess. Oh, actually, there is one thing that someone posted on Facebook. Let's see if I can get it up without showing you all. Yeah, okay, this is going to work. Right. So this is an article from... Actually, this is an article from The Sun, but this isn't the one I was thinking of. Right. So this says, vaping aimed at kids, sweet shop taste. Vaping firms have been accused of marketing e-cigarettes to children by branding them with images of unicorns, rainbows, and sweets. Well, adults can enjoy rainbows, unicorns, and sweets as well. Nicotine liquids are banned from sale to youngsters under 18 as they are highly addictive and can harm brain development. But some are sold online under names such as jam donuts, jelly babies, and snowy candy bears for as little as £1. Okay. The Royal Pharmaceutical Society compared the marketing of sweet treats, vape liquids, to the sale of alcohol pops to underage drinkers. Firms deny targeting kids and claim the liquids are nostalgia products aimed solely at adults, but British American Tobacco has taken its e-fizz and Dinner Lady products off its website. Did anyone else know that that Dinner Lady were owned by British American Tobacco? Is that a recent thing? Do you know more about it, Mark?
I know there were whispers.
I had literally no idea until I saw this. And I feel like Dinner Lady have spent a lot of money keeping that hidden.
Bear with me.
Yeah, anyway, so Pharmaceutical Society said these are vaping equivalent of alcohol pops and clearly designed to hook teenagers into an addiction. I mean, they're not, but whatever. BAT said, we take concerns around youth appeal very seriously. Health and Social Care Information Centre poll found 22% of children had vaped at least once. Nice and vague, The Sun. Nice and vague. Also, if you read The Sun, you shouldn't. And go outside and learn something proper. Something proper.
So I'm just...
Oh no, Jamie's not even here and Keith still slagged everyone off. I love it. Oh, we love you, Keith.
Take care, Keith.
Right. Okay. I will now find... Now I'm not sharing my Facebook to everyone on the world. Where the hell is this link? Honest to God. I found it. We're good. Okay.
There we go. Daniel has just said they own many big juice companies now, and also own the biggest vape distro in the States. Now I know about the juice. I didn't know about the vape distro. Daniel, let me know who's the vape distro, because I'm thinking of, there's 2 or 3 that I can think of, but they're family owned.
I can't think of anyone that would, but then you know far more distros than I do. So
a lot of the bigger ones that I can think of were all family run.
Okay. Right.
So it'll be interesting to see who I don't want to use the word sold out, but who likes money.
Yeah. Likes money more than principles. Yeah. Right. So I finally found not one but two links, and you're going to love this. We're going to go back to Shareland, the land of sharing. So, e-cig fears effects of vaping could be worse than smoking a regular cigarette. Study finds. Now we've been over.
Could.
Could just there. Could a study doesn't say which study. It just says study. Right. So vaping may be worse for you. A new study claims.
So what it says is, BAT has sponsored and paid for a study to.
It's a Greek study. Greek researchers found that flavorings in e-cigarettes harm the lungs by causing inflammation. Dr. Konstantinos Glinos said the observed detrimental effect in the lung upon e-cigarette vapor exposure in animal models highlight the need for further investigation of safety and toxicity of these rapidly expanding devices worldwide. Then they go on to condescend anyone who doesn't know what a vapor device is.
You do realise that Mr. Glinos
is probably on the payroll of BAT.
Maybe.
Well, it's like the doctors that work for Gwyneth Paltrow's beauty medicine company called Goop, right? These are supposed doctors, but it's all just homeopathy bollocks, basically. So if you're doesn't just because you're a doctor doesn't mean that you're not under the payroll to be paid to say something. Right. So then it's talking about propylene glycol, how it's but this is just another string to the bow of tobacco companies trying to slag off. But now they're doing it in these kind of rags where a lot of people who will take their information from places like The Sun, The Daily Mail, The Star, wherever they get it from, and just take it as complete gospel. And that's where the danger lies. I mean, this is a terribly written article based on a terribly conducted supposed study. And yet the fact that it exists is enough to cause the damage. Now, after that slightly depressing thing, I think basically what I'm trying to get at is don't go out and just say, oh, well, they've done another article and it says it's bad for you. Just don't believe it. Go out and do your own research. I mean, obviously, we're slightly biased, so maybe don't even take what we say as read. Go out and find out for yourself. There's a really, really cool thing on Google where you can find published peer-reviewed studies, but you can search Google and it will only bring you up those things. It's like it's a feature in Google, and it will search through peer-reviewed studies for this sort of thing. You can read it yourself, context-free, without someone taking it out of that context and using it to their own devices. So yeah. Anyway, this is a good one. So a lot of you have probably heard about this as well. Warning over vape e-liquid, which can give you an erection lasting for 2 days.
I need to try this. I need to try this.
Mark has issues, unfortunately, and nothing else has helped. It's a sad time.
I don't have issues. You got to be honest. It would be absolute shits and giggles at work at a meeting just before work to sit everyone down. For me, it'd be everyone that manufactures. It'd be the shop staff. It'd be literally everyone. Right, guys. I just want you to try this new juice out. Let me know your thoughts. Have a great day, guys. See you later. Walking around with a 2-day boner.
Yeah, but what happens if you're female? Do you just get like a wide on for 2 days? Like,
have you ever heard of that? Instead of walking around with a 2-day erection, you get a wide on. A wide on. Oh, we need to know, how does female Viagra work? Please tell us.
Wait. How does it work?
If your female takes like Viagra, then for males, they just get like really horny. Like they just really.
Did you hear that?
Yeah. So you just get really horny.
Yeah. So a wide on.
Not fucking wide on. What's wrong with you?
Oh She keeps me sane.
You just get drippy knickers. Is that what she's saying?
Yeah, pretty much. I think so. Yeah. All right. So this Chinese vape company, Hello-Sig electronic technology company, made a vape liquid which included the erection drugs Cialis and Viagra, and could now face stiff penalties in America.
Stiff penalties.
I didn't even notice that before. Oh dear. Right. So the FDA sent a warning letter to the Chinese company asking the company to change their products, which are made in China but sold in America. Prescription drugs are carefully evaluated, labeled to reflect the blah blah blah, etc., etc. Now, I have a small bugbear with this. Cheers, Mark. If your cashew nut goes like a kidney bean,
you're still sharing. You're still sharing.
Oh, it's only the chat, so that's okay. I closed all the porn tabs earlier. Yeah. So the thing is that we run the danger on a lot of Chinese companies. We see it in their mods. We see it in their juices, their branding, all of that sort of thing. Is they don't care about whether they should do something. They just do it because they can. Mm-hmm. And I think if they're going to start releasing vape liquids into the market with dangerous chemicals that shouldn't be taken or inhaled or ingested without proper prescription or dosage, that is just going to undermine everything. Everything really? At all. I think it will do. I think it will do, because if they, it just puts us in a bad light again.
But
as hilarious as it would be to have a 2-day boner.
It depends on how it works. If it works in the same way as Viagra allegedly does, by increasing your blood pressure and the flow of blood, that for 2 days cannot.
I mean, it can kill you.
Exactly.
And this is the other thing, is that inhaling a medicine is actually a very inefficient form of administering a drug.
Well, why don't I walk around with a 2-day boner with Cali and Viagra then? Surely it's working much better being vaped than it does ingested.
But is it a 2-day boner because you're vaping it constantly? Whereas if you were to take the little blue pill, that's one dose, and then it has an effect and it wears off. But if you're vaping it throughout a day, it would last longer, maybe.
Like Badger just said, Viagra's available over the counter now.
You can buy it in Boots.
You buy it in Boots, but I thought it was a cut down version.
It is, but it's still dose controlled.
Yeah, but I know for a fact that one of our neighbours near the shop, who happens to own a Chinese herbal medicine company, happens to sell the little triangular pills under the counter, and I've heard that they're quite strong. Oh,
heard, not experienced. Then.
No, may he may sell them.
Oh dear.
One of the ingredients in my Sliders venom can give you a hard-on. That's no joke. Oh, spiders! It was like sliders, aren't they shoes?
Or burgers.
So he's got a spider that gives him a hard-on. Well, I suppose it gives you something to do at night, doesn't it? Here, bite this.
But yeah, isn't that one of those spiders that gives you a hard on and then you die from blood loss? Like lack of blood to the head.
Yeah, you're walking around with a 4-foot cock, but...
And I think I've run out of news. I think that's all of the interesting news I've had for this week. I mean, that was like 8 different articles. Yeah. Interesting things I've also seen this week. The quality of batteries coming into my shop has been a brand new low of utterly terrible. This week I've probably had about 30 different batteries come in utterly shocking condition, which makes me scared that mods are available without proper battery safety information inside them, or at least battery safety information that is easy to read.
What's company policy on dodgy batteries?
For us, to be fair, we strongly recommend that they replace them. If we feel they're dangerous, we confiscate them. But we offer to rewrap batteries first, unless the battery itself is damaged.
You see, that's one thing we've done from day one. Any of our customers who come in with dodgy batteries, we will rewrap them free of charge there and then for them.
Yeah.
If somebody comes in just for a rewrap, it's obviously chargeable. But it sounds as though a lot of our competitors in the local area have cottoned onto this and started sending people to us just for rewraps. So,
well, I mean, if the battery itself is damaged, like it's got a dented positive or there's dings all over it, we'll just take it off them. If it's come out, it's leaking, or we just confiscate and say, look, a battery's only a £5. You might only need 1 or 2. It's worth it if you want to keep using this safely.
£5 batteries, you're cheap.
Yeah, our £5 ones are HE4s, the LG HE4s. Our Samsungs are like $6.99 a piece. We did do VTC 5s for a little while, but the 25 watts are so solid for everything.
Yeah, you see, the 5As are probably our best seller in store.
Yeah, it's something I've been trying to get in for ages. But yeah, I think I had one woman come in and she was saying, "Oh, my vape's broken. It's not working." So we pulled the battery out, and it was in shocking condition. I mean, it's not the worst I've seen, but it wasn't great. And we said, well, let's see. I'm going to gently pop this battery into the mod and see if it will turn on. Put it in, and it didn't work. I said, well, your mod's basically killed itself, so it's refusing to turn on because there's obviously a hard short somewhere happening. Popped a new battery in, and it worked fine. No worries. So, that was one issue. I had one bloke come in with 2 sets of different batteries. But what he'd done is he had these 2 sets of batteries and taken one from each pair and just swapped them over. And then been charging them and discharging them together. On each pair, one of them didn't have half of its wrap. That was scary. I even had a dude who owned a vape shop come in with a mech, being the big I am about how he owned a vape shop and he knew everything about vaping. Pulled his mech out, no insulator on the thing, and yeah, he got a good old ripping into. That was a good one. So yeah, I mean, it's just not difficult. Oh, Paul's on his way. In Norfolk. Sorry, go on.
I've sent him the link.
Ah, sweet. So yeah, in Norfolk, a £5 is a week of picking sugar beet. Mate, I live on a £5 a week out here. It's so cheap. No, I don't. That's a lie. But yeah. So no, but I've just seen this week especially. I've just seen more shocking battery quality of people than I have in a very long time.
Yeah.
I mean, so go on.
Go on.
I was gonna say, we will rewrap for people, and if they want, what was that?
I think Paul has joined us, but he's got quite strong. Bear with me.
Oh, hello.
Morning, gents.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. There we go. Yeah, just finish where you're at, Cass, and then we'll introduce Paul.
I forgot what I was saying. Yeah, no, it's gone.
We will leave that there then. We will leave that there. Just joined us is Paul from Labworks. Paul was he joined us last week in chat, and we had a brief conversation after the show last week. He joined the after show and said he'd be quite happy to join us. Now, obviously, Paul is lives in Australia. So, what is it? 7 a.m.
Yep, it's just turned 7 a.m. here.
7 a.m. So thank you very much for joining us. It is muchly appreciated so early in the morning. I don't think there's anything that would get me out of bed at that time to sit on a YouTube show to sit and chat bullshit.
No, more than welcome, guys. I'm actually happy to join. It's fine.
Fantastic. So, Paul, if you don't mind, if you'd like to introduce yourself to everyone, I will full screen you, and the floor is yours.
Okay, guys. My name's Paul Meyer. I'm here in Australia, and I own Labworks Vape. I'm an e-liquid maker and, well, a bit of a mixologist. Many years ago, I started off in the DIY world and moved across and decided to release my own liquid line. I've also been working in the background as a bit of an advocate, trying to, well, sift through the minefield that Australia has in the world of vaping, which it's not an easy one.
No, I can imagine.
Obviously, we've spoken over the past few weeks about the problems and the laws and the issues that you guys have in Australia. But obviously, you can explain this a little bit better. We don't get that much information over here about sort of the laws. Obviously, we're impacted by American and Canadian law, but obviously we're not overly impacted by Australian law. So as it stands, yeah, as it stands, what is the law? What is the legislation in Australia?
Okay, currently in Australia, we're very similar to the UK, but each state has their own different law regarding nicotine and regarding vaping. Queensland and Western Australia, the state above me, I live in New South Wales, Queensland and WA have probably the harshest laws when it comes to vaping. Western Australia, products, nicotine and liquids, if you have nicotine in a liquid over there, it's a fine of up to $45,000. Queensland Health, they currently have a law in play that you're looking at around a $9,000 fine for nicotine in the liquids. New South Wales, it's about $1,000, and Victoria's just changed their law. We're not allowed to manufacture any of our liquids whatsoever with nicotine. We have to import nicotine to add to our liquids, which is a problem in itself because you have people that are switching across to vaping, handling high-strength nicotine, and even some people have been bringing in 1,000 milligram nicotine from China, not understanding that anything above 50 milligram handling it, you really need to know what the hell you're doing. Currently, our health minister won't actually back down from his stance, but recently he has said that he's willing to sit down at the table and to actually do an investigation into vaping and see if there's any credit to the science that's actually out there. He's trying to appease the people, but he's also trying to, well, in my eyes, grab votes because our government here is actually in trouble at the moment.
So is it illegal to own nicotine-containing e-liquid or just to make and sell it?
It's... Okay, the current rule is that you're meant to, in New South Wales, you're actually meant to hold a prescription.
Yeah.
You're meant to go to the doctor, gain a prescription, and then bring in a 3-month supply. But no one can actually tell us what the 3-month supply is. It's classified here as a Schedule 7 drug, which is exactly the same as heroin. Go figure that one out.
That's crazy.
Why do you think, personally, obviously off the record, why do you think that the laws, the legislation and regulation is so stringent in Australia?
Well, for a start, our former Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull, his wife sat on the board of 3 biotech companies. That was for a start. Secondly, the TGA, our Therapeutic Goods Administration, say that, well, we don't know yet. We don't know if we can actually use vaping to get you off the cigarettes, but the science is out there, the truth is out there, but they still don't want to listen. I think they're worried. Oh well, how are we going to tax a product that can help people? I think that's the biggest issue.
So tax is probably the key player. Tax dollars is probably a key player.
Tax is one of the issues, but I think that Big Pharma, more than anything, Big Tobacco's got, their hand in the pie, but Big Pharma also has, because of the NRT programs here, nicotine replacement therapy, as in gums, patches, sprays.
The stuff that doesn't work.
The pills and everything that doesn't work at all. You know the deal. It's not funny.
So in an ideal world then, Paul, where would you like to see it completely unregulated? Would you like to see it, very similar to the way we've got it over here, or America, or would you just like them to go, you know what, do what the fuck you like?
No. Look, in a perfect world, regulation is a good thing, but not overly regulated, whereas to the government tells you exactly what you can and what you can't do with said product. The freedom to be able to create whatever flavoured liquid you like is the second thing, unlike the United States wanting to play the flavour ban.
Mm-hmm.
Playing the flavour ban is never going to work. Never going to work. Oh, jeez. Well, okay, right now I'm vaping on a prototype liquid, and this one is a kiwi strawberry green tea.
That sounds amazing.
I'd rather vape that than have to vape.
How many New Zealanders? How many New Zealanders did you need to use to get in that?
I don't know, really. I don't know. I've got a new juicing machine, so I'm not sure. I'd have to go back and check.
Right, is it fully grown New Zealanders, or do you just use the babies?
No, we don't. We're not talking. No, you went down the wrong pathway there. No babies were hurt in the production of this liquid. That's going to get you into trouble.
Sorry, it's my sense of humour.
I know. I love it.
Why do you put a baby feet first into a blender?
Oh Christ, no. Wrong answer.
Okay. We'll leave that one hanging, shall we?
We're going with the baby in the blender jokes.
It's gone hard. Go hard or go home. So, for anyone that's just arriving, you are arriving at exactly the same time as Chandler.
I have,
How we doing,
and probably have as much clue as to what's going on as I do. Hi.
So, all you missed, if anyone is just joining now, you missed the news, which was hilarious.
Oh, please tell me you spoke about the guy who inhaled half of his mod.
Yeah, it's going to get me going again, right? In the article I found, it whistled when he breathed. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Did you catch the beginning of the show, Paul?
No. I've been trying to do a lot of catch up here at the moment, but it's not working.
Fair enough. Well, basically, over here in the UK, we have a lot of complete and utter idiots, right? Next level idiots.
Almost as many as the States.
Yes.
But we're not talking about Congress here.
No, we're not. No, we're just talking about Communal Garden Muppets.
This dude was vaping on a smock mod and somehow inhaled his drip tip, and it got lodged in his lung. Don't really know how it happened. We can't work out the physical nature of it. And like I said earlier, you put a drip tip against your lips, right? Your lips are the barrier to prevent a drip tip in entering your lungs. So he must have been doing this in order to do it.
He was deep throating his atomizer, basically.
Yeah, basically. So yeah, that was hilarious. It's just I just reading this article about it, and we just could not stop laughing. It was amazing.
You sure he wasn't? You sure he wasn't? You sure he wasn't snorting it?
Maybe.
I mean,
I want to know how do you inhale? Anyway, we're redoing what you did earlier.
Yeah. But and Hong Kong have banned e-cigarettes.
Hong Kong have China? Well, almost China.
Yeah, the city of Hong Kong specifically. Then you've also got Nova Scotia in Canada have banned it outside except for specific areas. I'm just doing a bit of a catch up for anyone that's just joined. So Nova Scotia have banned smoking, vaping, and marijuana anywhere except designated smoking areas. Vapers will get cheaper premium insurance premiums in the UK for being a vapor because they're not considered a smoker. Yep. So that's the thing.
That's about time.
And, yep. And what was the other thing? Oh yeah, there's the Hello e-cig e-liquid that gives you a 2-day boner, which is hilarious.
Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah, just type in boner e-juice and you'll find everything you need to know. So that's what we pretty much covered. And I talked about some battery safety, and I talked about...
Hang on. Boner e-liquid. I'm just about to release a line called Boner. What's that all about?
Who knew that you could inhale Viagra? We want to be careful. This could actually officially replace nicotine. We've got something for Australia. No nicotine. Just go for Viagra in your juice.
No.
Although I did see any liquid caffeine.
We're not playing that one. Liquid caffeine's been around. Liquid caffeine's been around for quite some time. Flavor West was actually doing extractions of it, and there was a couple of other flavor houses. But again, we don't know, the back end of that one. So that's an issue. As for Hong Kong, I did hear about that. That's a bit of an issue. But Nova Scotia not being able to vape or smoke a blunt outside, that's another issue.
Yeah,
that's not a good one.
Coming down hard.
Paul, what are your thoughts on sort of prescribing alternative medicines and everything else via inhalation, via vape?
Well, doing a lot of research in the background, pharma wants vaping technology as a technology and a drug delivery system. There's been chatter that they're going down the pathway and they're now testing with insulin, so people that are diabetic can actually take their insulin via an inhalation system. They're talking about there's other chatter out there that they're talking your antidepressants. That's another one that they're looking at. Whether or not you can use vaping as a weight loss program, that's another one that they're looking at, that you can vape the flavors instead of eating. Then they're looking... I think that's where the flavor band's coming from, actually. I bet you that's where the flavor band's coming from. Yeah, for a weight loss program. Well, think about it. You can sit there and you can vape, 120 mils of custard. You don't put an ounce of weight on, right? But you go and eat 120 grams of weight, and you're still going to leave half of it there. That'd be that part of it. But
Sorry, go on.
Probably the biggest one that they want it for is for analgesics or for pain medications and accidents. There's a thing known to everyone, like in the emergency community, called the green whistle, which has an analgesic for when you're at an accident site and they give it to you, you have a few toots on it, and you're in La La Land. I think that is probably... You've got a child, for argument's sake, and you give him a strawberry whistle, he's going to have a couple of toots on that and going to be as high as a kite. He might have a compound fracture with a bone sitting out, or, you know, some form of injury that needs, you know, really quick pain relief, and it's going to get given to him. I think, look, there's the pros and the cons of going down that pathway, but regulating nicotine and liquids to where you have to physically go and see a doctor to get a prescription to get your nicotine, that's just creating more work for the doctors, which they're already snowed under.
Paul, Daniel has just asked in chat, do you have CBD products available in Oz?
No, that's another one that we're still trying to get through. Any of the marijuana products or CBD or extractions, no. Yes, it's a godsend for people that have cancer and they're on chemo treatments, and you know the associated. There's no real risk associated with cannabis usage and for like alternative medicine. But again, they won't listen to that. You've got to be pretty much terminal here in Australia to actually get onto one of those programs.
But there are programs that are available.
They've started to appear here, yes, but you've pretty much got to be terminal, or there's got to be something majorly wrong with you to be accepted into the programs. Yet there is an underground movement here that have been, you know, doing extractions for that use, like children with seizures and things like that. There's been a couple of gentlemen that have been charged for creating these products, which sucks. Why get charged for a product that can help ever so much in relation to regular, like, pharma? Medications work to an extent. This is a product that's natural. It works. We'll let it go through. Sorry.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You see, that's one thing over here. I know when we were speaking last week, Paul, after the show, you know, we were talking through some of our legislations and some of the things that we can and can't do, and we're obviously talking about short fills and things like that, and you were quite surprised by, you know, some of the crazy legislation that we have to adhere to. But CBD is one of those products that is unregulated over here, as long as there is less than 0.2 CBD, 0.2 THC. It's completely legal and absolutely fine.
It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
No, it's a good point. If they legislated it and the extraction process was, you know, put out there on paper, and they tested the extraction process and it was all above board and it was done in a lab, I don't see a problem with it. I really do not see a problem with it.
No.
Like, but your short fills, right? You were saying that the highest you're allowed now is what, 72 milligram?
No,
Is
20.
That... Oh, 20. Well, okay. I prototype a lot of liquids and I import nicotine for my personal use as well. I only vape at 3 milligram, but pardon me, I work with 100 milligram all the time. I handle it without a problem, but with the amount of years I've been vaping, almost 5 years now, and I do not see a problem if you understand how to handle it, you understand how to mix it correctly, and you understand how to dispose of it correctly. I don't see any problems in it. But 20 milligram, that's really tough to work with.
Oh yeah.
Because it will, as a liquid maker, in some aspects, you are going to dilute the liquids. You're going to dilute the flavors. So, yeah, that's an issue for me right there in itself.
Business, you can buy and
Yes.
sell to other businesses 72 milligram.
Yeah.
So as a home DIYer, it's very difficult to make high strength nicks. Or what you have to do is your mix has to be a huge proportion of things like nick shots, 20 milligram nick shots, to make the mix that you want to mix. Before, you know, in 100 mil, you'd put 10 mil of nick to make a 3 milligram. Now you have to use like 5 nick shots just to get where you want to go for bigger amounts. So if you're a business, you can buy and sell it. I mean, you know, Mark runs his company, buys 72 milligram, no problem, because business to it's like buying red diesel. You know, if you're a business, you can buy red diesel, which over here is duty free, isn't it? I think
that's right, but it could only be used on private land.
Yeah, it's for farm vehicles.
Exactly. So, but then, business is fine. But then, obviously, you had these people that bought 10 years worth of nicotine before the laws came in, froze a lot of it, and are just keeping it for themselves for that. So, I think as a DIY mixer at home, you either did it before the TPD and kept it, or you don't do it. Doing it via nick shots is a very expensive way to do it.
Well, again, you go back to you're diluting, unless you're working from one shots, you're diluting the overall recipe at the end of the day. That's the start. And
you see,
and second to that,
go on, sorry.
72 milligram is another one. You can't really work with 72 milligram. You know, you look at the major companies that make liquid in the United States. They're all working with between 100 and 200 milligram, so it doesn't dilute the overall recipe. I mean, no, 72 again.
Chandler's a prolific home mixer, aren't you? How do you find it?
I've got 72 milligram nick in the freezer. But if I'm mixing, if I've got a nick shot, I have occasionally mixed up 50 mil and thrown in an 18 milligram nick shot. You
see, a lot of what's made over here, Paul, obviously a lot of it is 60 milligram and 120 milligram mil. 60 mil, 120 mil. And what works perfectly for us, if we over concentrate the 50 mil to take into account the 10 mil of 18 milligram to make it 3, it's not an issue, as long as our calculations are right when we manufacture, to ensure that we're taking into account the 10 mil of 18 milligram that's going to be added. It's no different to you guys using 2.5 mils of 72.
When you're home mixing, if I'm making 60 mil, if I'm using a 10 mil nick shot, I'll make 50 mil, but I'll still use the same amount of concentrate as I would if I was mixing up 60 mil. It's the same percentage concentrate that I would use. And if I'm using my 72 milligram, then still exactly the same amount of concentrate. I just need a little bit more VG to mix it up.
Point taken, but with some recipes, don't you see them changing a little bit in the overall?
I have noticed a couple when I've used nick shots, but that I wonder whether that is down to the nick shot being in a cheaper nicotine, where it's affected the flavour. Obviously, it's not changing the concentration, but I've got a bit of a harsh taste with some nick shots that I didn't particularly know where they came from. I wouldn't know where to get them again.
Right.
There were ones that I'd got given when I was at Expo. The nick shots came in there, and I thought, this tastes a little bit. If you can taste the nick shot, you know there's something a bit iffy.
Well, you're talking what, peppery, or it's changing the overall? Yeah, peppery. Just for the majority of it, it's either a cheaper grade nicotine, or it's been sitting around and they've been trying to dump it onto you, to get rid of it out of their stock.
Typically, you'll tell by colour. You know, if it's not an off shade of clear, if it's anything over an off shade slightly pink, if it's any more than that, then chances are it's going to be
terrible,
a poor grade, or an elderly nicotine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
An elderly
Exactly.
nicotine with a walking stick.
Exactly.
Okay.
I mean, there's probably a niche
like-
out there where people love that peppery taste. They steep their nick in like sunlight for like 6 months and then stick it in their juice, and they're like, peppery, yeah.
I'll be honest with you. It's only been the once with this. I'd got 3 of these nick shots that I'd found in a bag that I'd come back with from an event. And it's only been those 3 nick shots where I've got any peppery taste whatsoever.
So they're just old.
I think they must have just been old. Yeah.
You see, for me, since nick shots have evolved, you know, I've had good nicotine, I've had poor nicotine. The poor nicotine, I don't think I've ever come across it being peppery. Now, working with a lot of nicotine in the past, particularly 72mg, I think you find more peppery and almost sour nicotine back in the 72mg days. But as far as that, I've come across harsh nicotine, and I mean nicotine that takes your breath. I mean, literally, you'll inhale and it'll be like, oh.
How many of us here have forgotten to shake the short fill before vaping it?
You see, it's not the shaking. It's not the shaking for me. Obviously, when you use a chubby gorilla, you put your nick shot in, you shake it.
Get
When
stuck
you
in the nib.
shake it, you do get an 18mg in the nib. So I'll always squirt out the first part of whatever's in the top after
what
I've
she
shaken
said.
it. Hey.
Oh, can't waste the stuff like that. Bloody hell.
I know.
That's a worry in itself, right there. I'm lucky. I mix everything. I mix everything on a magnetic stirrer in beakers, so I don't really worry about that side of it.
See, Mug,
To
your
be honest,
bottles?
the first bit that you're squirting in is either going into a tank or onto your cotton, and you're adding more in over the top, so it's diluting it down straight away.
Yeah, for sure. Do you have a problem that a lot of chubby gorillas suffer from? Is that you drip your juice, you turn it up, and then an air bubble comes out and just blurts the tiniest drop of juice all over the flat bit. So the next time that you go to pour your juice, it starts pouring down the side of your mod and all that sort of shit.
Snip the nib. Snip the nib. It won't happen.
Does that actually make a difference?
Yep.
What do you angle? Do you mean angly?
Yeah,
Angly.
literally just snip
straight.
the tip on an angle, and you won't get any leakage problems.
Although I did drop a customer's bottle of juice that they just bought the other day and snapped the nib off the lid, which was hilarious. They weren't very happy, but
Did you replace it?
no,
You didn't replace it.
no. No, he had an empty bottle from the previous one. I just took that one off and popped it on his new one, and where we go.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's
I
bad
don't
customer service. Bad customer
I don't
service.
just have lids lying around. What are you on about? It's all right. It's all good.
Paul, as far as
bottle.
exactly, Paul, as far as the flavours go in Australia, you know, over here, you know, we've got a how can I put it? A very diverse amount of flavours over here. You know, we've got pretty much pick of the choice. We've got obviously our premiums. Thanks, Melissa. She's thrown me now. Absolutely thrown me.
Choice of flavors. Keep going.
I was going to say, if you're having issues, does that stop it dribbling if you snipping the tip off?
Stop it.
Okay, sorry.
We've obviously got our premium flavours, but we've also got a lot of how can I put this? Homemade shit that makes it onto the market. You know, you can go onto some Facebook groups and pick up 60 mils for £2.50, £3. I don't know what our conversion rate is at the moment. I think it's about 2 to 1, isn't it? So
yeah, about 50, 55. Yeah.
So about $6 for a 60 mil. What do you guys still get a good variety of e-liquid that's available over the counter, or is everything homebrewed? Is everything mixed?
No, we've got a couple of shops here in Australia. Probably the three biggest would be Wick and Wire in Melbourne, would be Vaporize in South Australia, and it would be the Steamery in New South Wales. Those three, you go down the pathway of Vaporize, they've probably got over 200 liquids in their lineup. Wick and Wire's probably got around the same, and Steamery's up there as well. So no, you don't have a problem with flavors. You have the majority of the US companies here. Then we also now are getting Malaysian juices, which, to be quite honest, they're terrible.
Yep.
Then you're getting juices from New Zealand, and there's even some of the juices sneaking in from Canada.
See, my shop, we
there's
stock
a lot
about
there.
750 different flavours overall, and that includes our own range, which has 35.
Whoa.
Yeah.
You've got 750 in one shop.
Yeah, give or take. I mean, so we have our own range, which we stock. I think we can stock 55 different flavors in that, but the most shops only stock about 35 flavors because we have more on our website than we can in stock in the shops. We then have our Vampire Vape range. We're quite a big stockist of them, so there's probably another 30 of their flavors there. And then there's premiums up the wazoo, but I think at the peak, it's not quite that amount now, but at peak it was easily a good 750 flavors.
Why don't you stock airlines?
Because someone can't send their stuff out properly and get sample packs. 3 weeks now, so no. If you send me a sample pack, though, I'll quite happily hand it to our buyer. And you know, you got a better chance if it's personally recommended than if you send a sample pack cold calling. Because
Daniel's just asked in chat, and I know we had this conversation last week. Have Nick Salts arrived in Oz yet? Now, I know you work with Freebase and Saltbase, but you're also experimenting with something I've been experimenting with recently as well. Is that something you can talk about, or?
Personally, I've been experimenting with a lot of different things. I've been playing around with stem nick. I have been messing around with Nick Salts, and I've also been messing around with a synthetic nick. And I'm actually getting probably better results with the stem nick and with the TFN, tobacco-free nick. Both of them are showing great promise. But Nick Salts are here, but not in as big a quantity as they should be. But luckily, a friend of yours, a friend of everyone here, Bogan, sent me through something that's just being released. He's re-released his range now in a 20 milligram Nick Salt version in a smaller bottle. And the one that I've got here is the Kuron Cola so far, and this is 20 milligram, and I've been messing around with it in this lovely little toy, a little tiny e-leaf, a little tiny, which one's this? The Pico Baby, and it goes really, really, really well. I'm still not a fan of Nick Salt though.
No, I'm not. I find them very, very harsh. I know they're not supposed to be. I find them very harsh, and I also find I cannot get rid of the taste of fish. They taste extremely fishy to me. Now, don't get me wrong, I'll try them, I'll stock them. We've got an incredible lineup. But Nick Salts, particularly in the UK, have just gone mad in the past 6 months, I'd say, 3 months. Nick Salts have boomed over here.
The lad I work with has found a way to make his own nic salt by combining nicotine with benzoic acid in very specific amounts.
Yeah.
And he can take his 72 milligram nicotine and turn it into 20 milligram nic salt e-liquid very, very easily. It's a simple process. As long as your amounts are correct, it's easy enough to do, because essentially they use ammonia to extract nicotine from tobacco plants. I think that's right, yeah. And it's essentially, in a way, almost reversing the process, but not. And it's something to do with the benzoic acid that is the key to the whole thing. But apparently it's very easy to make, and he can actually extend the life of his nic tenfold by turning it into nic salt, because he goes through it so much slower.
But then all of a sudden you go from not needing a poisons license to needing a poisons license.
I don't know how hard benzoic acid is to release.
You're producing nicotine. You're producing a new product. You know, you know, obviously, if you're working with 72 milligram, not a problem at all, because you've bought it as a produced product. As soon as you start turning your freebase into salt and start introducing benzoic acid, you need a poisons license to be able to do that.
Yeah, because it's, like you say, it's a new product. But for personal home use, fantastic.
I was going to say, if I did that at home, is that the case? Would I still need a license?
No, you're completely fine, because it's for home use. As long as you're not reselling that product or giving it away to anyone else, then you're absolutely fine.
Obviously, don't cock it up, because that could have interesting consequences. I don't know what the reaction is like with nicotine and that, but apparently it is very, very simple to do. So, but like many things, it's simple to do, but easy to cock up. So, you know. We never asked you, Chan, what you're vaping on.
I still wouldn't.
No, I personally couldn't do it. I wouldn't trust myself to cock it up, get it all over the kitchen counter. Suddenly, my house is melted.
Yeah, I wouldn't faff with nicotine unless it was a case of just pouring that into that and going done.
Yeah,
I'm sure it's a little bit more involved than that.
I imagine so.
Yeah. So Dan's just asked in chat, Mark, do you think that long-term nic salt users will end up using more juice, just like the longer you smoke, the more you smoke? I think that's an interesting question. I've tried nic salts. I've used nic salts. Now, I vape predominantly now 12 milligram 50-50. I was a 3 milligram and that's all I used. I went down to 1.5 for years, and then all of a sudden I went back to mouth to lung, and my daily is now 50-50 12 milligram all day, every day. Now my consumption of nicotine has increased. It's definitely increased. And I'm probably getting through. I talk to people. Cass, on a 10ml bottle.
Yep.
Of what strength do you vape on mouth to lung?
I'll vape anything between 20. If it's mouth to lung, it'll be anywhere between 12 and 20 milligram. So if it's 20 milligram, it's nic salt. If it's free base, it's 12 milligram.
Okay, so how long does a 12 milligram bottle last you?
2 days.
You see, I'm lucky if I get a day out of 10 mil.
But that's since this tank. When I was, or still am, vaping on this, a 10 ml bottle would have lasted me a day. Now, I used to. Do you remember when the boom of sub-ohm happened and everything was biggest clouds ever? I would easily clear a 50 ml bottle in a day. Easily clear a 50 ml bottle in a day. And I was thinking to myself, like, I found it hard to keep juice in the house. Now I'm overrun with it, because I'm vaping less and less and less. I'm vaping more mouth to lung. All of my sub-ohm stuff is more of a sit down, vape it for 10 minutes, put it to one side again. Same when I'm at work. When I vape at work, I'm mouth to lung at work. I'm not blowing the clouds at work and chugging through juice like I used to. So I'm like, oh, this 120 ml bottle, it's taken me 6 weeks to get through because I've got 9 other things that I'm using it in tandem with. My juice consumption has plummeted through the floor. But I'm not complaining about that. It's just how these things work out. But it's just really interesting to see. And I think anyone that either A has gone from clouds to mouth to lung, or has gone from 3 to 20 and is nic salting, will notice their consumption go down unless they're an absolute monster and like sub-ohm nic salts, which I have done and is an experience.
I think, yeah, I think the issue I have with it, because I'm on in the saver, so I have got 7.2 milligram in there purely because of the maths using my 72 milligram nic. Sorry, I'm lazy with maths. Yeah, I usually have 6, but I just went, yeah, fuck it, 7.2, that'll do.
10%. Let's just go with that.
Let's just stick 10% in there. It's fine. It's sorted. So, so yeah, but the reason I think I don't get on with nic salts is because I like vaping. So I was discussing this the other day with someone. With vaping, you tend to keep going and vape. You vape more. You take less drags, but you do it more frequently.
Now,
if I do that with nic salts, I end up going nic buzz, but instead of
now
down,
I think to for the nic salts now, and for a brand new user, so Ethel that comes into the shop who wants to stop smoking, she'll come in, and we will put her on, let's say, 20 milligram nic salt. Now that 20 milligram nic salt, she's going to get a much more immediate effect than she would on 18 milligram freebase. Now, for me, I think the salt-based nicotines are a lot better for the people that are stopping now, the new users, because they're feeling the immediate effect. For me, I've been freebasing for 6 years.
Yeah.
So to go from freebase to salt is very, very different. I've got to change my vaping style, the taste of it, the reaction I get on my throat and my chest. Do you know what I mean? It's I think so. In answer to Dan's question, I think for new users, I think nic salts are much better. However, for us old school users, those of us that have been brought up on freebase, those of us that are used to freebase, that vape freebase style, that we're used to nicotine creeping in rather than it hitting us right in the balls straight away.
I think you're spot on. If I was starting now, nic salts would be like you say, it's a different way of vaping, and you get it.
Do you find it's refined your vaping experience?
What's that?
By that I mean, I was chugging through liters of juice every month, and I didn't really think anything of it. It didn't really matter what flavor it was. It was nice. It tasted. It was either good or it wasn't good. Now, because I'm mouth to lunging, the flavors are more exact, more intense. The nicotine hit is better. Do you feel that you've become more refined in your tastes when it comes to mouth to lunging or squonking or something that is, rather than just chugging big clouds that taste all right and you're getting a bit of a nick hit, but now it's a much more refined, exact procedure?
Do you know, I always find, I've always found when I've mouth to lung, I mouth to lunged for 5 years, got into direct lung only a couple of years back. I'm always late to the party with this sort of stuff. But I've always with my mouth to lunging, I've tried different flavors, but always ended up going back to the tobacco-y kind of flavors for my mouth to lung. I've never touched tobacco direct lung at all. It just don't like it. It's really weird. So it's always been the flavors have been direct to lung, and I'm only just starting to experiment with some different flavors in my mouth to lung.
I totally agree with
it's fruity flavors that I seem to be going for mouth to lung rather than, whereas I love bakery flavors direct lung.
You see, for me, I think I had a sales rep come into the shop a while back, and he got a saver. He was like, "Here, try this." So gave it a try, running at 9-10 watts, low build, and it was a tobacco-based juice, and I recognised it. I recognised the flavour. I recognised the creaminess. I recognised it was like, what is that? I know that, and it was V-God's Cabana.
Mm.
Oh, okay.
Now on direct to lung, I think that is absolutely disgusting. I really don't like it. It's not my cup of tea. Direct to lung tobacco as the main flavour, I don't like. Tobacco as a background flavour, I like. But tobacco in general in a...
It's like what I was saying about this one earlier.
Yeah. But tobacco in a direct to lung vape isn't my thing. Mouth to lung is very different. Mouth to lung I really enjoy. Tobacco, earthy flavours.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much the same as me. The majority of my stuff I drip. They're all the fruit flavours. And then in all my squonkers, they've got my custards, a lot of my bakeries. Some of my... I'm messing around with a few different tobacco recipes, but for the majority of the time I'm vaping fruits. Tobacco would just... No, it's still not there for me. Look, the concentrates have gotten better over the last few years. They're easier to work with. And people now moving into vaping, and Nic Salt, yes, it does have its place. But again, no one's really talked about Nic Salts at, say, 20 meg coming, and then titration process actually coming down the scale from 20, or even in the US, 50 meg coming down, and how you're going to titrate from high levels of nicotine in a Nic Salt base down to, for argument's sake, 3 or 6 milligram if you're actually then wanting to give away vaping at the end of the day. But for all of us, we're all hobbyists at the end of the day now. We've been around in the vape game for a while. It keeps us away from the stinkies. And, you know, sure, if you're a vapor coming into the game now with all the hardware that's out there and the systems, look, the newest one's probably the Orion from Lost Vape. That is a fucking game changer for everyone.
Incredible.
That right there is the biggest game changer in the last 5 years for people that want to get off the stinkies within, 3 to 5 days. You could give away a pack of cigarettes and go to that with a really high quality tobacco vape and 15-20 milligram nic, but can you still titrate down? That is the big question. Or is the industry now creating super nic users? That's the other question that's not been answered by anyone, really.
You see, Dan's just said, 50 milligram in the States is crazy. I know Chris, who popped in very briefly and then disappeared. He, all day, every day, uses 45 milligram Nic Salts. 45 is what he uses, and it keeps him off the cigarettes. He's a lot like me. He's been vaping a long time. He went from mouth to lung starter kits years and years ago. He's now gone. He then went on direct to lung 3 milligram for a good proportion of his vaping career, if you like. And then now it's gone full circle. He's back to, 45 milligram is probably, 12, 18 milligram comparison to freebase?
In throat hit, I would have said. So, yeah, because I would say 20 is equivalent to about a 6.
Yeah. And obviously 20 is the strongest that we can get over here, over the counter.
Yeah, it's like. But again, Chandler,
it depends on the delivery system. So I mean, you've got the saver. I think is still for mouth to lung. It's quite cloudy.
Yeah. Well, it's like you missed it at the beginning.
So
you missed it at the beginning, Chandler, when I was talking about the firewater. Sorry to interrupt you. When I first got this juice, I was vaping it at 0.1 on Aliens on a mech. Right now, it was only 3 milligram. It's not high nic, but the flavour is so overpowering. Just sniffing the bottle half knocks you out. I then got about 10 mil into it, added another Nick shot, which thinned it out, put it up to a 6, put it in the Berserker. It's a different juice. It's just a completely different juice. So it's like you're saying, it's dependent on the delivery system.
Yeah, I mean, Firewater. I love Firewater. I've not direct lunged Firewater. I've literally used it.
Don't recommend.
I picked up 12 milligram Firewater from Fest.
See, I wish I'd bought the 50-50 version now, because this is 70-30.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely the 50-50 that I got, 12 milligram, and my favourite has to be the amaretto flavour.
You see, again, I tried.
That was rank. Like, give me your amaretto stuff. I'll have it. It's gorgeous.
You see, amaretto just tastes like Dr. Pepper to me, and I'm not a big fan of Dr. P.
Yeah, I
Get
remember.
out.
I went on holiday to Vegas, and they had cigar machines in the casinos, and I bought amaretto flavored cigars, and for the entire holiday, I was smoking amaretto flavored cigars. So yeah, it just reminds me of that. That's all.
Diddy's just asked in chat. Have any of you tried vaping a zero nick? Now, I almost got down to 0. I was down to 1.5, and then the stress of life took over. To me, vaping 0, there's just something missing. Mark,
do you think Nick changes the flavour?
Yes.
No, I want to see what you think, because I had a juice. I'd been sent a juice, so I was trying it, vaping it, and I vaped it for 3 days solid, and fine. It was lovely, really enjoying it. I then found out that it was zero nick, and as soon as I found out it was zero nick, it then didn't do it for me. But when I didn't know it was zero nick, it was fine.
So is it a placebo?
Yeah, and that's the thing. I've never been able to make a zero, mixing my own, making zero nick. I'm like, yeah, it's not, and I need the nick in it.
It's
But when
like,
I was given,
it's like drinking alcohol-free beer. It just doesn't taste the same. It's like
No.
It's like having sex with your sister. It's good, but it's just not right. I don't have a sister. I don't have a sister.
Okay, it's like Mark said, it's BJ with a condom on.
Shit. Oh, God.
So yeah, dead baby, incest.
I might try mixing up, like you say, two bottles, 1-0,
one nick free.
One nick free, one with nick in, and seeing if I can tell the difference.
No, even better than that.
Okay.
Give it to the missus, get her to mix them up and give you one of them back, but not tell you which one has the nick in.
I'd tell straight away, because for me, nicotine improves the flavour.
But I don't vape, like you say. When I'm mouth to lunging, I'm on what 7.2, and I'd be happy with 6 milligram. So I'm half the nick level that you're on when you're mouth to lunging.
It's great.
Well, it's easy. Well, it's easy. The nicotine and the chemistry, yes, it does improve the flavour. It helps the steeping process. Bottom line, but if you were to create something that doesn't have nicotine in it, you just up all the flavour percentages by 0.5% across the board, and it actually comes through. The flavour
like
comes
Badger
through.
was
You don't
saying
know
that
there's nick in it.
Yeah, Badger said that literally that makes up for the nick. The extra flavour undiluted makes up for it.
Yep, that's how it works.
So put a bit of extra. So you reckon put an extra 0.5% of flavour in?
Yeah. Depending on what you're working with.
I'll mix up two 10ml bottles, one with nick in and one without. And
what's your favourite from my line, Chandler?
Me, it's a toss up between the apple and elderflower and the cream soda.
And do you think you'll be able to tell the difference between nicked and non-nicked?
I don't know. I think I would, but I've got this. My brain says, yeah, I'll know the difference. But
by next week,
horrible
Mark.
Feeling if I had 2 bottles that appeared and go right, tell me which one's got the nick in it.
So
I have a horrible feeling I'd get it wrong.
Send Chandler 2 bottles, Mark. One with A written on it and one with B written on it, and he's going to try them both on the show next week, and then you can tell us which one has nick in it.
Shall we do that?
Do it.
Yeah.
Let's do that. Let's do
Just
that.
two little 10ml bottles, 2 little
Chandler.
empty drippers.
Chandler, wave your hand. There we go.
That's all right. There you go. Sorry, I blurred out there for a moment. It was the shock of potentially managing without Nick.
But it's the Pepsi test. I'd be really interested to see whether you could tell the difference with 2 juices Mark had sent you.
Yeah. I'll take. What I'll do is I'll take it to work. So I'll go all day on each bottles. I'll do 2 days running up to the show. I'll go all day on one bottle and see if I can.
What's your preference?
Work going, then that's the one without nicotine.
What's your preference? Elderflower and apple or cream soda?
Cream soda, please. Thank you.
Because the
It's gonna take about 6
elderflower and
minutes
apple,
to
you'd
arrive.
actually tell.
Sorry.
Surprisingly, you don't. Yeah. I'm actually on my 12 milligram elderflower and apple, and you know what? It is so smooth.
Yeah, I've got another bottle of because I've got a bottle of elderflower and apple that I haven't opened yet, and I'm gonna split that in half, and I'm gonna mix some up so I can so it's a bit stronger and add a little extra PG in it so I can mouth to lung it.
Lindsay's just vaped that. Does that feel like 12 milligram?
Not on 2 puffs.
No, not on 2 puffs.
I mean, I switched over to the 12 milligram Heisenberg from a little pen vape onto the Berserker, and after 5 or 6 puffs, it felt like I was vaping something. Like I was getting a right good raspy chest, and it was wonderful. Like that's what you want sometimes from your vape. You want to feel like you're vaping something.
Did he?
That's the thing that's missing from Nick Salts for me.
Did he wants to know if you'll dress up as a guinea pig, Chandler? I'll send you a water bottle so you can.
Yeah.
And Daniel thinks I should send out juice to all the viewers to test out.
Well, he hasn't even sent it to me yet, so don't get your hopes up.
It took about 3 months for Barker to get, for JB to get his.
And if you buy it, it's even longer.
So we'll be doing this. We'll be doing this zero nicotine test. We'll do it, and we'll have it for the April show.
What are we doing? 0 and 3?
0 and Nick Salt.
Zero in shitloads.
I'm not fucking around with Nick Salts.
What do you think?
0 and 3.
Do you reckon I ought to be mouth to lunging it or direct lunging it?
How you would normally vape?
Yeah, and this is me being bloody awkward. Yeah, 0 and 3, and I'll put it in my Rose 3.
What?
There you go.
What, 50-50 or
70-30?
70-30.
Yeah. That make it easy, I think.
No, that's the majority of what most short fills are in. So if we go by the acid test of what most people buy in their short fill, which is a 70-30 or thereabouts, then we can tell whether you can tell as a seasoned vapor whether you can tell the difference or whether it's just a placebo. But you won't find out which one's which until the show, and I think that'd be really interesting.
Right.
I'm wondering if I've got two. I haven't got 2 identical tanks because I could put them in 2 identical tanks and see if I could tell the difference.
So Diddy seconded Dan's.
Of course he did.
His motion. I'm going to do a shameless plug. If anyone wants to buy any of my lines, www.jeffreysvintagevape.co.uk. If you use the code VTUK10, you will get 10% off and free delivery, which will make it £13.50 a bottle, including delivery. So go
and
give
sometime
it a try. And I've never done that. I have never promoted on this show ever.
And if sometime in the new year you want to see a review on that juice, go to this channel, and at some point, I'll let you know when, there will be a review on it.
You know what, Cass? You know what? I've actually got an envelope sat on my desk with your juice in. And it's been there for 6 days.
It's going to stay there now, isn't it?
It's been sitting on the desk.
Take things to. Haven't you got minions that take things to the post to deliver it for you? Can't you just drop it in with the daily order or something? Or does it just hasn't managed to get there from your desk?
I could. But like you say, it's remembering to get minions.
Just sweating me out. He's just sweating me out. Now I'm bitter about it. He's gonna keep it there for another 3 weeks.
There you go, Badger. Hang on, no, Badger. Send me some because I can do it the other way around, and I have 2 identical setups. The thing is, Badger, you don't vape nicotine, so I'm sure by vaping nicotine,
you'd know.
Plus, you're never on the show, so it wouldn't work.
So, Badger, you genuinely don't vape. You vape zero nic, and that's it.
Bless him, Richard. Jeffries for the win. My favourites are elderflower and apple, cloudy lemonade, and dandelion and burdock. Cheers, Rich. Thank you, mate. Appreciate that.
Oh, to be fair,
I've mixed up some dandelion and burdock. I took the bottles in the other room, but I put mixed up 30 ml. No, I put 26 ml of this in. Well, basically, I put 2 ml of 72 milligram and 2 ml of PG in, and then topped it up with that, and that effectively turned it into 47 milligram.
What you want is just 50-50, 12 milligram. It's just so much easier.
Yeah, it would be, but I've got this bottle, so I would like pitch some of that, but it's great as a mouth to lung.
For again, another shameless plug. Watch this space. Probably this space being Thursday evening about 9ish.
Do we have to concentrate?
No,
really hard?
But yeah, concentrate really hard. Concentrate. So those of you that are home brewers, those of you that like to mix your own, there may well be one of our lines available in concentrate form as of, let's say, Thursday, possibly Friday. Not available from us, exclusive to another company, but watch this space. Yeah, all will be revealed.
And I think, gentlemen, people of the chat, that's time.
Time, gentlemen, please.
I'm having fun. Well, we're late starting. Let's keep going.
Yeah. No, we're good. Diddy retracted his message because he can't spell.
What did he say?
He just said COU. That's all it said, COU. As one word.
Crew.
To be honest, they're all great flavours, but those stood out to me. All purchased from e-cigs Zoo. There we go. There's a push for Jimmy's shop. E-cigs Zoo, Wisbeach. A proud stockist. Could it be just
Peterborough, the one that actually Jimmy's in the most? So
look at this. Is it Chef's Mark? Could it be just Ad Nick? Who knows? Let's find out.
Could we also give Chandler a bottle of hard-on juice to like Russian roulette?
Which one gives me a stiffy? Yeah.
We should do
Have
that.
a poll in
3
the
bottles.
A, B, or C.
The question is, you might be walking around with a hard-on for 2 days, but does it give your tongue a hard-on as well? That's the question.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, dear.
I'll be honest, I would give it a try. Come on, out of all of us, and the guys in the chat, if somebody gave you a bottle of vapeable Viagra, just out of morbid curiosity and satisfaction for your missus, would you try it? Would you try it? Cass, would you?
No. 100% no.
Melissa, would you want him to try it?
Let me ask her.
It would have to be a weekend, wouldn't it? Because if it lasts for 2 days, What are you going to do? 2 days?
What did you say?
Yeah, but only if you don't have to be near me when you do it. She is a savage bitch, honestly.
Okay.
I'd try it. Paul, would you try it?
No, mustache rides would take on a whole new meaning.
Chandler.
Yeah, like actually, yeah. Actually, I'm not sure whether I'd want my missus around or not. I know what she means. It's actually a case of would I be on beck and call for the next 2 days? It's like,
you know what? If I was to take it and it did give me a 2-day stiffy, Lindsay's response would be, "Yeah, deal with it." And her response was, "Damn right."
Oh my god, that's insane.
You only need it for about 5 or 10 minutes, and then it's all done. So what are you going to do for 2 days?
So what have we got? How many in chat? Sam Squires from Knights Vape. By the way, he's just released a cherry cola. Apparently, it's very, very, very good. Has anyone tried it here yet?
Not the cherry cola.
What?
Yes.
You've not? Have you tried it?
What?
Yeah.
And how is it?
It's one of the better cherries I've ever tried, for sure. As far as colas, now Sam will appreciate honesty. It's one of the better cherries I've tried, absolutely for sure. For colas, I suppose because it's a mixed flavour, it kind of doesn't count against other colas. I have had colas that have blown my mind, but this is, for a cherry Coke, fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Normally, you taste a cherry, you get one puff in, and you're like, nope, that's going in the bin. This one's lush.
There we go, Sam. A free bit of promo for you. Don't say I don't do anything for you. Rob, yep, he'd definitely try it. Miku, he wouldn't. Did he? No, I'd be worried about spit back. Well, just keep it away from your mouth. You'll be all right.
Don't worry, you might inhale the drip tip if it's too close.
Oh god.
Diddy, I know Diddy personally. Diddy is a prolific deep throater, so you know it's a risk. He's going to punish me for that.
This conversation.
Come on, guys.
This conversation's getting really. If anybody's just tuning in and not realizing it's a vaping show, we're talking about Viagra and swallowing tips.
In all seriousness, guys, all of you that are in the chat, I'm just going to check how many of you are in chat. 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So there's 12 of us in chat. Come on. Let's say you could get rid of a headache from vaping. Analgesics, and that goes in the mouth, not from the back end. Analgesics. Would you vape to get rid of a headache? Would you vape to give you a boner? Would you vape to get rid of indigestion?
What's the difference between vaping and gas and air?
Do you spit or swallow your drip tips? Brilliant.
Bloody hell.
It's interesting to see just how dark the mind of chat is tonight. You know.
Yeah.
That's what we like. We love it. We love it.
But yeah, what's the difference between, you know, like gas and air that you inhale, or laughing gas, and vaping? If you could gas and air, it'd be the same thing, wouldn't it?
I guess so.
Because you inhale gas and air.
Gas and air, though, is a constant supply, whereas vaping is obviously have a vape, let go.
Yeah,
have a vape, let go.
No. If you're using gas and air, obviously it was when I was giving birth when I was using it.
What?
Gas and air? I broke my hand. Basically, they were resetting my hand, and they gave me gas and air, and you don't stick it on your face and leave it there because you can overdose on it. When you feel like you've had enough and you're getting a bit too woolly, you take it away. So it's very similar to if you're starting to get a nick buzz, you stop vaping.
Yeah.
I would like.
I just don't get my vape supplied to me from a tube that comes out of the back of the wall behind me.
Can you imagine that though?
Oh, just pulling it. Oh, it'd be great, wouldn't it?
Baz has just said, I would like to see some sort of dental vape. Is that to make your teeth white or to
melt them?
Could you imagine though going to the dentist? You'd be in the dentist, and I'd be very very concerned that the dentist would be going, yeah, can't fucking see. Where's your teeth? And pulling the wrong ones out if it's too cloudy.
Yeah, you're sub-ohming. Stop being that guy. Oh. It'd be mouth to lung. Come on. Dan's just said mental. Dan's just said mental vapes for when you have cold and flu works amazingly well. I have done that, and it does work incredibly well.
Pro tip: go to Boots, buy menthol crystals, drop one in your bottle of juice.
Oh my God.
And you too can feel as though you're Malaysian.
Yes. Yeah. Don't put 5 in though. If you want the roof of your mouth to still exist.
Just to comment on something that Paul said earlier, he was you were talking about the Malaysian market. Over here, the Malaysian market does incredibly well with the likes of. Let's talk about Nasty. Nasty isn't nasty. It's nice. Stop it. Nasty Juice is a prime example of a company that just appeared from nowhere.
Hashtag low mint.
Low mint. But you know what? I couldn't vape it. I couldn't vape it all day. But as far as popularity goes, it's incredibly popular. The amount of people that want that cold, that colada, the WS23, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, it's incredibly popular over here. Are you not seeing that in Australia?
Yeah, it's huge here because we've also got a very large Asian population. But when you were going on about colada's generally not used in Malaysian juices. It's bumped up with WS3, 5, 12, 23. And then they're bumping it up even harder and creating even more of an ice vape. Then they're backnoting it with menthols as well on top of the WS series. But it is becoming very popular now. But still, possibly one of the best cool vapes I've ever had would be what was it? Naked 100. Very cool. It's a berry base. Oh, that stuff is amazing. But that was done really, really well. The one that I'm vaping on now, that actually has 0.5% WS23 in it. It smooths out a lot of the fruits like very, very quickly and helps with steeping. But
takes away a lot of the harshness,
I like
doesn't
cool
it?
Vapes. Yeah, I like cool vapes. But in custards, the bigger, the heavier the custard, the better it is. That's how I see it. But then bakery, I've got one here in my line. It's called Event Horizon, which is actually a milk chocolate banana bread. Everyone thought I was nuts for doing it, but it works really, really well.
I'll be the judge.
I mean, I'm giving that a bit of a go at the moment.
You know what? I got a bottle of that.
You got that, did you?
I got that. Hang on, let me look at it. Oh, I don't think it was that flavour.
What's the profile?
It's right. Think of an energy drink that is very similar colour. Basically, it tastes like Monster.
Okay.
That's and the range that they've got 3 different flavours, and all 3 of them are colour coded to the Monster brands.
Okay.
So So
it is the one I've tried. It is the one I've tried.
The green one, yeah. It does taste like Monster, and but it surprised me because it got the WS23 in it, and my initial reaction was, it don't need it. But actually, my first reaction was, I'm not gonna. I was expecting it to be shit, and it strangely wasn't.
One thing that surprised me about that juice was, I'm guessing they've used malic acid or something in there, because you get almost like a tingle of fizz in there, as well as a slight cold hit. You're also getting a fizz as well, and it's. I fingered it before I vaped it. I fingered it, and it was like, you know what? That's interesting, and what are you doing?
I mean, another surprising juice.
What gets me? It smells like you open a can of Monster and it smells like it.
Yeah.
So
it took me ages to work out the profile, because I never read a profile before I taste a juice. A good juice, you can tell what it is straight away. Yeah. So that one, I fingered it and it was like, I know that. I've tasted that before. Is it something I've made? Is it something I couldn't. It took me a minute to work out, and then it was like, you know what? It tastes of taurine. It tastes of taurine. We're getting that taste of Red Bull. We're getting that taste of Monster. And then I got the fizz, and then I got the cold hit, and it was like, you know what? It was all right.
But, you know, Mad Juice, I found quite surprising lately. Have you seen, Zap Juice?
Yeah.
Manchester-based company. Well, they did their Isu range, the sort of Japanese-style range, and they do a cucumber flavour. Now, if you've never vaped cucumber, I massively suggest it, because what they've done is the Isu range is like one of their cold ranges, so you got the fruit and the cold and whatever, but the cucumber, have you ever taken a cucumber straight out of the fridge and it's been ice cold and bitten into it?
Yeah, it hurts your teeth and it gives you brain freeze.
Exactly like that, but it's super refreshing.
No. I'm going to argue this, because cucumber tastes of nothing.
Like, this tastes incredible.
No,
that's celery.
No. Cucumber tastes of nothing. There's a faint taste of something. I like cucumber. It's nice on a cheese sandwich. Don't get me wrong. I will eat cucumber. But cucumber in a vape is wrong.
Try it.
It's like putting pineapple on a pizza. It's wrong.
Right, you need to. Can you kick yourself from the chat now? Because
yeah, let's put him in timeout. Hang on.
just can you put the host in timeout? Does that work?
I was going to say, one of my favourite juices. I got it and I've never been able to find it again. It was Vapor Chef. They did a cool cumber melon. They called it, and it was gorgeous. And, yeah,
I forget that chat are a few minutes behind, and that fuck you all must have been quite. Now it's funny. I know Mark Ski asked about a GMT, and Paul and I actually had a conversation about this last week, didn't we? We were talking about gins and he's getting up.
Oh, now then.
There we go, Mark. A gin and tonic.
Oh.
Now, one of the things I always struggled with was the tonic, and Paul gave me a few pointers last week, and I completely forgot them. I didn't write them down, so I need to revisit this conversation. But yes, Mark, Paul has done a gin and tonic. And that's one thing that's very, very popular here at the moment is gin based stuff. I've got a couple of gin. What have we got?
Rhubarb and ginger.
Oh yeah, rhubarb and ginger gin. And
lovely.
They're asking us if we've gone. I wonder if we've timed out. No. And Bramble, which is a blackberry lemon and gin.
Does it have a time limit?
No. We've been booted before, but we're not using Hangouts, so
I was going to say that was Hangouts, wasn't it?
yeah.
Yeah, you should be able to stream
You guys,
indefinitely.
you guys have got to. Yeah, you guys have got to switch over to Zoom. Heaps easier to work with.
Zoom.
Yep. Zoom.
Is that an X or a Z?
Is
Z.
that is that the Zoom.us?
Yep.
Yeah, I've used it before.
Oh, well, look into
It works
it.
really,
and-
really well.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Vaping
used
is
it
amazing.
for work. Great for web presentations.
I'm just going to check
Yep.
the live feed now.
No,
it's still
people are
running.
still commenting.
No, it's still running. I've lost.
No, Badger's just
live.
said you're still live, Mark. Badger's just PM me.
Yeah.
Hey.
You're still live. No, gin and tonic's becoming a big thing now. Flavour Arts created a gin base. We've got a flavour company here in Australia that you've now got through Chefs, which is Vape Train Australia. They've also got a botanical gin, which, when I say botanical, it does have all the botanical notes to it. So you can play with that and you can tone it down, tone it up, whatever else.
Oh, I think we've lost him.
I think we've lost Paul. I think we've lost Chandler as well.
No,
No,
am I still
Chandler's
here?
moving.
very still.
I'm just.
No, we're back. We're back. We're there.
Oh, okay.
To be fair, we're not potatoing half as much as it used to.
No, that's because I
Okay.
restarted the computer. I'd honestly not restarted this computer for 6 months.
Do you not turn it off at night?
What?
No.
No,
What?
No.
it's like yeah.
That bad boy is on 24/7.
That's
Oh my
incredible.
lord!
Unbelievable.
Glad I don't get your electric.
It's a Mac. It doesn't. Yeah.
No, Macs use next to no power. I figured out.
Yeah, it's a Mac. It doesn't work.
Oh, here we go.
Right then, folks. Are we going to call it a night?
Yeah. Ish.
It's a
I'm being asked if we're doing a hangout tonight. I'll hang around for a little while after the show. I will pop. I don't know if that hangout link will work, but I've put a hangout link. Just confirm that link works.
I'm gonna scoot because I've got a podcast to upload. Not at all getting a shameless plug in there at all, but yeah.
So
Ian
those
Chandler
those
does the vaguely vaping related podcast Sundays, right?
That'll be episode 36. It should have come out on Sunday, but I got Riyadh. Jimmy and I had got Riyadh as our special guest, and you know what Riyadh can be like.
Rick's a diamond. Rick's an absolute diamond.
He's brilliant. But we were also having some slight internet issues with from Jimmy's feed that was causing issues. But I had a hell of a lot of editing that I needed to do. I was kind of hoping it was going to be nice and easy and quick, but it wasn't. So I finally finished it this morning, and it should have been out Sunday.
Excellent.
Tut.
So yeah,
Right,
I'm late as usual.
I've put the link into what I'm going to do is put the bit.ly link in as well, because no one's dropped in yet. Can someone just click the link and try and see if it works? If it doesn't, I'll put another link in, but
Yeah. Awesome.
someone confirm that the link works. Click it, someone click it.
Yeah. It works.
It works. Cool.
Yeah.
Cracking.
All right.
Well, thank you very much, Paul, for joining us. I'm hoping that you'll be able to not make it a regular occurrence, but hopefully we'll get you in here again.
We'll try not to wake you up so early in the morning.
Yeah.
Okay, don't worry about it. I'm actually used to it. I used to work in the horse racing industry, so 3 a.m. starts for me. 3 a.m. starts for me and nothing.
So we were your muck out then this morning.
No, I retired.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much for joining us, guys. Next week we will be joining you for an expo special to have a look at who's going to be there, who's going. I won't. Yeah, thank you very much for joining us, folks. Paul, if you just hold on, the screen will go blank and then the credits will run, but we'll be back with you shortly. Thank you very much for joining us, guys. If you can smash that thumbs up button before you go. Cracking show. Really enjoyed it tonight. Yeah, thank you very much. See you next week. See you next Tuesday, guys.
Bye.